welcome to the channel. Today we are finally answering the call for a character who is less of a man and more of a walking natural disaster. He is the long-awaited, oft-requested, and universally feared Judge Holden from Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. Now, evil is a word we throw around a lot on this channel. We've talked about galactic tyrants and slasher icons, but Judge Holden? He makes them look like Sunday school teachers. He is a 7-foot-tall, albino, hairless nightmare who never sleeps, speaks every language known to man, and views the entire universe as a giant, bloody playground. He is reprehensible, vile, and yet he is the great favorite. Today, we aren't just looking at his crimes, which are many and horrific. We are looking at the who and the what. Is he a man? Is he a myth? Or is he the literal Prince of Darkness taking a stroll through the American Southwest? Before we dive into the blood-soaked sand, a quick disclaimer. Cormac McCarthy was many things, but a hand-holder wasn't one of them. He never sat down for an interview to explain exactly what the judge is meant to represent. This video is my interpretation. It's an avenue for discourse. If you think I'm wrong, or if you think the judge is just a guy who really needs a high-quality moisturizer, tell me why in the comments. Because this is a literary analysis, I'm going to be using substantial portions of the text. Analyzing a book character without the text is like trying to describe a sunset to a blind man. You need the source material to feel the weight of it. I've altered the dialogue slightly for the spoken word, since McCarthy treated punctuation like a suggestion rather than a rule. And I've swapped out some period-accurate slurs for more modern descriptions to keep things professional. Lastly, there are almost no official depictions of the judge. So, for the upcoming sections where I narrate his stories, you're going to see a looping video of a campfire. It might seem simple, but the judge told these stories around a fire, so consider this an immersive experience. Just try not to think about what's lurking in the shadows behind you. Chapter 1. The Parable of the Harness Maker. To understand the judge, we must understand his parables. He tells the story of a harness maker in the Allegheny wilderness who, desperate and bored, began dressing as an Indian to beg from travelers. One day, a young, virtuous traveler sees through the ruse and shames the man, yet stays to offer him rare coins and a lecture on brotherly love. For a moment, it's a scene of redemption, until the harness maker follows the traveler into the woods and smashes his skull with a rock. The judge explains that this wasn't mere greed. The harness maker killed the man because the traveler represented the good man the maker used to be. By burying the traveler, he was attempting to bury his own unbearable shame. Decades later, the maker confesses to his son, whose reaction is not horror, but jealousy. The son defiles the grave, scatters the bones, and heads west to become a killer himself. When the Glanton gang tries to debunk the story with facts, the judge smiles. He doesn't care about historical accuracy. He cares about the mythic weight. He adds a rider. The traveler's unborn son is now broken, chasing the ghost of a perfect father he never knew. This story illustrates the judge's core belief. Society is a cycle of sons robbed of their patrimony, left to wander ruins in a world that bears false witness to their father's true, violent natures. Chapter 2. The Philosophy of Ruins. The judge moves from the individual to the civilization. He speaks of the Anasazi, the old ones, who built in stone and then vanished. He points out that all progressions from a higher to a lower order are marked by ruins and nameless rage. He argues that those who build in stone seek to alter the structure of the universe. They are trying to leave a mark that lasts. But the judge believes that even stone is a game. He tells his companions that if a child were to be raised correctly, they should be put in a pit with wild dogs or made to run naked in the desert to find their own way. The ex-priest, Tobin, is horrified. He asks a serious question about how to raise a child, and the judge responds with a chilling nihilism. If God meant to interfere in the degeneracy of mankind, would he not have done so by now? To the judge, humans are just wolves who call themselves men. He views the world not as a place of progress, but as a place that blooms into flower and dies. He believes that man's spirit is exhausted at the peak of its achievement, that his meridian is at once his darkening and the evening of his day. Essentially, the judge is saying, we are all dying, the world is a graveyard, so why not play for stakes? And for the judge, there is only one game with stakes high enough to matter. Chapter 3. War is God. This brings us to the core of the judge's ideology. Picture the scene. The judge is sitting by the fire, cracking open an antelope bone with an axe so he can eat the hot marrow. He looks like a pale, fleshy gargoyle. The subject is war. One of the men, a black soldier, quotes the Bible, "He that lives by the sword shall perish by the sword." The judge's response is dripping with grease and irony. What right man would have it any other way? He argues that it doesn't matter what men think of war. War endures. You might as well ask a man what he thinks of stone. War was here before man, waiting for him. It is the ultimate trade, and we are its ultimate practitioners. The judge believes that games are the only thing men are born for. Every child knows that play is nobler than work, but a game only has merit if something is put at hazard. If you're playing for pennies, it's a hobby. If you're playing for your life, it's a ritual. Trial of chance or trial of worth, the judge says. All games aspire to the condition of war. Think about a card game where the players wager their lives. A single turn of the card determines who lives and who dies. To the judge, this is the ultimate validation of a man's worth. There is no fate or luck in his eyes. There is only a preference, absolute. The universe has selected one man over another. War is the truest form of divination, he claims. It is the forcing of the unity of existence. War is God. When someone argues that might does not make right, the judge just laughs. He views moral law as a scam invented by the weak to keep the powerful from doing what they want. He believes that a man falling dead in a duel isn't wrong. He's just been outvoted by the historical absolute. It's a terrifying philosophy because it removes empathy from the equation entirely. If you win, you are God. If you lose, you never existed. Chapter 4, the supernatural entity. Now, we have to ask the big question. What is Judge Holden? Physically, he is an anomaly. He is nearly 7 feet tall, remarkably heavy, but with tiny hands and feet. He has no hair, no eyebrows, no lashes, nothing. He looks like an enormous infant. But it's his abilities that suggest he's not entirely human. Immunity to the elements. The gang finds him sitting on a rock in the middle of a literal wasteland. No food, no water, no horse. He's just sitting there, waiting. Strength. He kills a donkey with a single blow from a boulder. He heaves over his head like it's a basketball. He lifts a massive howitzer cannon as if it were a light rifle. Agelessness. At the end of the book, decades have passed. Everyone else is old, broken, or dead. The judge, he hasn't aged a day. He's still the same pale, smiling giant. Knowledge. He is an expert in geology, botany, archaeology, and linguistics. He keeps a ledger where he sketches everything he finds, and then he destroys the original object. His philosophy is, whatever in creation exists without my knowledge exists without my consent. He wants to own the world by knowing it, and then deleting the parts he doesn't like. I believe Judge Holden is the literal devil. Let's look at the biblical evidence. McCarthy describes the fields at the beginning of the book as a shadowed agony in the garden. This is a clear reference to Gethsemane and the Garden of Eden. The snake is still in the garden, but it's grown fat and corpulent on a diet of human misery. In Genesis, God curses the snake to eat dust. What is man made of? Dust. The judge is literally consuming us. God's curses on Adam and Eve, toil, struggle, and enmity, are the very foundations of war. The judge argues that God doesn't interfere in human evil because God is the one who set the stage for it. The judge is just the master of ceremonies. He is the silver-tongued devil. He speaks in riddles and mysteries, enticing men to follow him into the pit. And then there's the fiddle. Historically, the fiddle has always been the devil's instrument. From 18th century violinists being accused of making pacts with Satan to modern pop culture, the devil's trill is a recurring theme. The judge is the best fiddle player anyone has ever heard. Coincidence? In a McCarthy novel? Not a chance. Chapter 5. The Final Dance. The book ends in a saloon. There is a dance. The judge tells the kid, our protagonist, that this dance is a ritual. It is an orchestration of an event that requires the leading of blood. He tells the kid that only that man who has offered up himself entire to the blood of war can dance. He talks about the pit, which is the biblical term for hell. He is essentially telling the kid that he, the judge, is the only true dancer because he is the horror. The kid tries to dismiss him, saying even a dumb animal can dance, but the judge has the last word. He tells him there is room on the stage for only one beast. The final image of the novel is the judge, naked, dancing, and fiddling. He is laughing. He is a great favorite. He says he never sleeps. He says he will never die. And as long as humans continue to wage war, as long as we continue to choose violence over empathy, the judge remains undefeated. He is the darkness personified, the pulsing rage in the human heart that seeks to turn the world into a ruin. Judge Holden is a reminder that evil isn't just a choice. Sometimes it's a force of nature. He is the original enemy, the one who was there at the beginning and will be there at the end, stoking the campfire of our own self-destruction. But that's just my interpretation. I want to hear yours. Is Holden a demon, a ghost, or just a very, very large man who needs a better hobby than universal domination? Let me know in the comments below. While you're there, leave a suggestion for the next villain you'd like to see analyzed. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the heart of the desert, hit that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there, because remember, the judge is always dancing.